Everyone says Max Verstappen changed Formula One, that he made it more aggressive, more ruthless, more boring, but what if that is completely wrong? What if Max did not change at all? What if Formula One changed around him slowly, quietly, until the sport itself became something else entirely? And once you see it, you cannot unsee it? Because for the last 5 years, the story has been simple. Max Verstappen showed up, challenged a dominant system, and then became the system himself. 2021, the season that split the sport in half. Wheel to wheel battles, crashes, penalties, radio fights, everything pushed to the edge. And at the center of it all was one driver who refused to back down. From that moment on, the narrative locked in. Max was too aggressive. Max was too dominant. Max made Formula One predictable. 15 wins in 2022, 19 wins in 2023. Records broken so quickly they barely had time to exist. Fans started saying the same thing everywhere. The races are boring. The outcome is obvious. One driver is ruining the sport. And if you stop right there, it all makes sense. But here's the problem. That story explains the past. It does not explain what is happening right now. Because in 2026, something feels off. Max Verstappen is not leading the championship. He is not dominating races. He is not even enjoying himself. He gets out of the car, looks straight into the cameras, and says something you almost never hear from a driver at his level. He says the sport feels fundamentally wrong. Not slower, not harder, wrong. So now you have a contradiction. If Max Verstappen was the problem, then removing his dominance should have fixed everything. But it did not. The racing did not suddenly become better. The tension did not magically return. The feeling that something is missing actually got stronger. And that is the first crack in the entire narrative, because when the supposed problem disappears and the problem stays, you're not looking at the real cause. You're looking at a distraction, and this is where it gets uncomfortable, because to understand what really changed, you have to stop looking at Max for a second and start looking at the sport itself. Go back just a few years. A Formula One driver had one job: push the car to the absolute limit, lap after lap, without breaking it. That was the art. Finding the edge, living on it, and staying there longer than anyone else. The greatest drivers in history all shared that same trait. Senna could hold a car in a place that did not make sense. Schumacher could repeat perfection for an entire race distance. Hamilton could control pace like a metronome under pressure. And Max Verstappen grew up mastering exactly that version of the sport. Late braking, maximum commitment, no hesitation. That is the version of Formula One he became the best at. Now, fast forward to 2026, you are flat out on a straight. Everything in your instinct tells you to keep your foot down. But you cannot, because if you do, your battery drains. And if your battery drains, you arrive at the next corner with nothing. No extra power, no recovery, no margin, so instead of pushing harder, you lift. You coast. Sometimes you even downshift before the braking zone just to regenerate energy. At over 300 kilometers an hour, think about that for a second. The fastest car in motorsport is asking the driver to stop being fast on purpose. And this is not a rare situation. This is every lap. The entire race becomes a calculation. When do you push? When do you save? When do you sacrifice speed now to gain it later? The fastest driver is no longer the one who attacks the hardest. It is the one who manages energy the best. That sounds small. It is not. That is a complete rewrite of what Formula One rewards. And once that shift happens, everything else starts to move with it. Overtakes look different. Battles feel different. Even mistakes come from different places, because now two cars are not just racing each other. They are racing completely different energy states. One car might be at full deployment. The other might be harvesting, and suddenly the closing speed between them is not 10 kilometers an hour. It can be 50. That is the difference between a controlled overtake and a situation that feels out of place in modern Formula One. So when drivers start saying the cars feel strange, or that the racing feels artificial, or that something about the sport does not feel right anymore, they're talking about identity. And this is where Max Verstappen becomes the most important piece of the puzzle, because he did not change how he drives. He still attacks corners the same way. He still commits earlier than everyone else. He still trusts instinct over calculation, but the sport around him no longer rewards that instinct the same way. So what looks like frustration is actually something deeper. It is mismatch. A driver built for one version of Formula One, placed inside another. And once you see that mismatch, you start noticing something else. It is not just Max. Other drivers are saying similar things. Not in the same words, not with the same intensity. But the pattern is there if you listen closely. The cars feel different. The racing feels different. The job feels different. And when multiple drivers from different teams with different results start pointing in the same direction, you're no longer looking at individual frustration. You're looking at a systemic shift. Now, here's the part most people skip over. If the system changed, then the question is not whether Max adapted. The question is whether he should have to, because adaptation sounds simple until you realize what is actually being asked. A driver who spent his entire life mastering instinct is now being told to think like a software engineer at 300 kilometers an hour. That is not evolution, that is replacement. And if that replacement keeps going, if the sport continues moving in this direction, it is about whether drivers like Max Verstappen still belong in the version of Formula One that is being created. And if you've watched this sport long enough, you can probably feel where that question leads next. So before we go any further, I want to know where you stand on this. If Formula One is shifting toward energy management instead of pure driving, is that actually better racing, or are we slowly losing what made the sport special in the first place? Because the answer to that question is exactly where this story starts to get a lot more serious. Because once you start pulling on that thread, everything else begins to unravel. And the moment it unravels, you realize this is not just about driving style, it is about what Formula One is becoming. Let's go deeper. Because what looks like a small technical adjustment on paper has created something far more complicated on track. The 2026 regulations were supposed to be a breakthrough. 50% combustion, 50% electric power, lighter cars, more agile handling, more overtaking, that was the promise. But what actually showed up on track is something very different. Every lap now revolves around energy cycles, not just speed, not just tire wear, but energy. Drivers are constantly balancing how much power they can deploy versus how much they need to save. Push too early and you pay for it later. Save too much and you lose track position instantly. So instead of racing the track, drivers are managing a system. And the system does not care about instinct. It cares about timing. It cares about calculation. It cares about software. Now imagine this in a real scenario. One car is in full deployment mode, maximum electrical output, everything turned up. The car in front has just run out of energy. It is harvesting, slowing slightly, trying to recover power. The difference between them is not subtle, it is violent. Up to 50 kilometers per hour on a straight. 50, that is not a racing gap, that is a mismatch. And when that mismatch happens at the wrong place on the track, things get unpredictable fast. There was a moment earlier this season that quietly shook the paddock, not because it was the biggest crash, but because of what it represented. A young driver approaching a high-speed corner, another car ahead in a completely different energy state. Closing speed building far faster than expected. There's a split second to react, no time to process, no margin to correct. The move becomes instinctive, the correction becomes desperate, and suddenly the situation is no longer under control. That is the part that matters because Formula One has always been dangerous, but it was a controlled kind of danger. Predictable limits, understandable risks. What is happening now feels different. It feels like the limits are shifting in real time. And when drivers start talking about that, people listen. At least they should. Here's where it gets even more interesting. Before any of this showed up on track, before the crashes, before the complaints, there were already warnings, quiet ones. Back in 2023, when Max Verstappen was dominating everything in sight, he was asked about the future regulations. At the time, nobody really paid attention because when you're winning that much, complaints sound like noise. But his answer was very specific. He said the data looked wrong. He said the cars would feel off. He said drivers might have to lift and manage energy in ways that did not feel natural. That was 3 years before any of this became visible, and nothing changed. Not the rules, not the direction, not the assumptions. Fast forward to 2026, the exact things he described are happening on track. Drivers lifting on straights, energy dictating race pace, unusual speed differences between cars. So now the question becomes unavoidable. If someone saw this coming that early, why did it take so long for anyone to react? And more importantly, why did it take real incidents before the system started to move? Because once those incidents happened, everything suddenly accelerated. Meetings behind closed doors, teams pushing for adjustments, quiet conversations turning into public concern, and then something Formula One almost never does. Mid-season changes, not minor tweaks, actual adjustments to how the cars behave, limits on energy deployment, restrictions on recharge levels, attempts to reduce the extreme gaps between cars. On paper, it looks like a response. In reality, it feels like damage control. because when a system needs to be corrected this early, it usually means the system was not ready to begin with. And this is where the tension inside the sport becomes impossible to ignore. On one side, you have the governing body trying to stabilize the situation. On the other, you have drivers who feel like the core of the sport is slipping away. And right in the middle of that tension is Max Verstappen, not because he's performing the best, but because he is reacting the most honestly. He is not sugarcoating it, he is not playing the political game. He is saying exactly what he feels, and what he feels is simple. This does not feel like Formula One anymore. Now, pause for a second, because this is where the entire narrative flips again. For years, people said Max made Formula One worse because he was too dominant. But now, even without that dominance, the sport feels more unstable than it did before. So the problem was never just dominance, the problem was deeper. And this is where you have to ask a very uncomfortable question. If the best driver in the world is telling you something is fundamentally wrong, and the system takes years to respond, which side is actually out of sync? Think about that, because this is not just about Max anymore. Other drivers are starting to echo the same concerns, not always as direct, not always as loud, but consistent. The cars feel strange, the racing feels artificial, the connection between driver and machine feels weaker. And when that connection weakens, the entire identity of the sport starts to shift. Now, here's where things get personal, because this is no longer about regulations or engineering. It is about motivation. Max Verstappen has achieved everything a driver could want: world championships, records, recognition. There's nothing left to prove. So the only reason to stay is one thing: enjoyment. And when that disappears, everything else starts to lose its meaning. He has said it himself in different ways. It is not about money, it is not about titles. It is about how it feels to drive. And right now, it does not feel right. So let me ask you something directly. If you spent your entire life mastering one version of a sport, and then that sport quietly turned into something else, would you stay and adapt? Or would you walk away and protect what you love about it? I want to know your answer, because this is exactly the point where this story stops being theoretical and starts becoming real. And once you reach that point, the next question is not whether the system can be fixed, it is whether it can be fixed fast enough. Because what happens next does not just affect one driver, it affects the entire direction of Formula One. And that direction might already be closer to a breaking point than anyone wants to admit. And that breaking point is not some distant possibility, it is already forming. Because once a driver like Max Verstappen starts questioning the sport itself, the timeline changes. It is no longer about years, it becomes about moments. Moments like where he is in the standings right now, not leading, not chasing a title, sitting outside the top positions that once felt automatic. And for most drivers, that would be the story. A dip in performance, a tougher season, a reason to fight harder. But this is not most drivers, because buried inside his contract is something that changes everything: a performance clause. If he's not in the top two by the summer break, he has a choice. Not a negotiation, not a rumor, a real option to walk away. Think about that carefully. A four-time world champion still in his prime, with the ability to leave the team that built him in the middle of a regulation cycle. That is not normal, and it gets even more interesting when you realize why that clause exists. It was not added randomly, it was not a safety net for a bad season. It was a response to something he already saw coming. The same shift we just talked about, the same feeling that the sport was moving in a direction he did not agree with. So the clause is not just about performance. It is about alignment, and right now that alignment looks shaky. Now take a step back and look at what is happening around him. A rookie leading the championship, teams reshuffling their competitive order, a grid that looks completely different from the one he dominated. On paper, this should be exciting: new faces, new winners, unpredictability, everything fans say they want. But there's a strange tension underneath it. Because even the drivers who are benefiting from this shift are starting to say something unexpected. They do not want Max to leave. Think about that. Your biggest rival, the driver everyone measures themselves against, the one standing between you and more wins. And instead of hoping he disappears, you're quietly hoping he stays. That is not respect, that is recognition. Recognition that something bigger is at stake. Because when drivers like Lando Norris or Oscar Piastri talk about Max, they're not just talking about competition, they're talking about meaning. What does it mean to win if the benchmark is gone? What does it mean to lead a championship if the standard that defined the era is no longer there? That is the part most fans do not think about. Winning is not just about finishing first, it is about who you beat. And if the best driver in the world steps away, even temporarily, the entire value of that victory changes. Now, add another layer. Max is not just a driver, he is a reference point. Every young driver coming into Formula One has measured themselves against him. His style, his precision, his ability to extract performance in places where it should not exist. Remove that reference point, and the sport loses something intangible, something you cannot replace overnight. You cannot manufacture a new benchmark in a single season. It takes years, sometimes a decade. So when people say Formula One will move on just fine without him, they're technically right. The races will still happen, the cars will still line up, a champion will still be crowned. But the question is not whether the sport continues. The question is what kind of sport it becomes. Because this is where everything connects. The regulation changes, the shift in driving style, the frustration from multiple drivers, the quiet rule adjustments happening mid-season, all of it points to the same underlying issue. The sport is trying to evolve. But in doing so, it may be drifting away from what made it special in the first place. And Max Verstappen just happens to be the clearest signal of that drift. Not because he's perfect, not because he's always right, but because he reacts to it faster and more honestly than anyone else. Now, here's the part that makes this situation different from anything we have seen in recent years. This is not about forcing change from outside. This is coming from inside the sport, from the drivers, from the people actually sitting in the cars, and history has shown us something very clear. When drivers start raising the same concerns at the same time, it usually means something fundamental is shifting, the kind of shift that cannot be fixed with a small adjustment. The kind of shift that forces a decision, stay and adapt, or leave and preserve what you believe the sport should be. Max Verstappen is standing right on that line, and the timing could not be more critical because the next races are not just races, they are tests. Tests of whether the changes being made are enough, tests of whether the driving experience improves, tests of whether that feeling the one drivers keep talking about actually comes back. If it does, maybe this stabilizes. If it does not, the pressure builds. And when pressure builds around someone who has nothing left to prove, the outcome becomes harder to predict. Because unlike most drivers, he does not need Formula One. He has already taken everything it can offer: titles, records, legacy. So the only reason to stay is belief. Belief that the sport is still worth competing in. Belief that what he is doing still matters, and belief is fragile. Once it starts to fade, it does not come back easily. So now we arrive at the question that everything has been building toward. If Max Verstappen decides to step away, even for a season, what happens next? Does Formula One reset and move forward? Or does it lose the one driver who forced it to confront its own direction? Because those are two very different futures, and the truth is nobody knows which one we are heading toward. Not the teams, not the FIA, not even the drivers themselves. But what we do know is this: the decision is getting closer. Not because of contracts, not because of performance, but because of how the sport feels. And that is something no regulation can fully control. So here's the question I want you to think about. Not just as a fan, but as someone who understands what makes competition meaningful. If the best driver in the world no longer feels connected to the sport, does the sport change to bring him back? Because whichever answer Formula One chooses, and if you want to follow how this unfolds race by race, moment by moment, and see whether the sport finds its way back or keeps drifting further away, you already know where to be.